atestar essa noite a evolução dos alunos que já eram high school aqui no ano passado. Vocês vão assistir aqui a micropalestras, todas elas bem curtinhas, de temas diferentes, preparadas pelos próprios alunos, certo? Amanhã sim, nós teremos outro evento do high school, e amanhã é um evento cultural artístico, um pouquinho diferente também. Então, hoje vocês vão presenciar os alunos subindo ao palco e apresentando um a um uma breve palestra, uma breve informação sobre temas bem diversos, alguns inclusive interessantíssimos, que dizem respeito ao dia a dia de vocês, tá bom? Eu gostaria de agradecer a todos pela presença, aos pais que vieram de perto e de longe para assistir aos seus filhos, aqueles pais que estão nos assistindo pela internet neste momento. Sejam todos bem-vindos, nós estamos muito felizes com a presença de todos. Meu último pedido antes da oração é: você deve imaginar que fazer um discurso em público não é algo simples. Fazer um discurso em público na frente de adolescentes é algo um pouquinho mais complicado. E quando a gente tem que fazer isso em outro idioma, acho que piora um pouquinho. Esses caras aqui, eles estão arrebentando, mas eu preciso da ajuda de vocês, eu preciso de silêncio, concentração. Posso contar com a ajuda de todos? Muito obrigado. Feche seus olhos e vamos falar com Deus. Santo Pai que estás nos céus, obrigado, Senhor, por mais um dia de vida, obrigado pela saúde que temos. Neste momento louvamos ao Teu nome, porque sabemos que até aqui o Senhor nos ajudou. Que o Senhor se faça presente em nosso meio através do Seu Espírito Santo, que os alunos do high school que forem apresentar aqui agora possam se sentir calmos, tranquilos, abraçados pelos santos anjos, e que eles possam entregar tudo aquilo que se prepararam para fazer. Nos dê uma noite agradável, feliz na Tua presença. Em nome de Jesus nós oramos. Amém.
How many of you have ever opened your phone to check the time, but then completely forgot to check the time? Next thing you know, you're scrolling through Instagram and still have no idea of what the time is. From the moment you hit the snooze button to watching just one more episode on Netflix, you're living on autopilot. And that's not just a distraction, that's a habit. The truth is, change your habits and change your life. My name is Alyssa Diaz, and today I'm here to show you how tiny choices made consistently can completely change your future. We'll look into how to change your brain, how habits are formed, and why you don't need an entire library of self-help books to become the best version of yourself. So our life is essentially made by the sum up of our habits. How in shape or out of shape you are, a result of your habits. How happy or unhappy you are, a result of your habits. Or even how successful or unsuccessful you are. That's also a result of your habits. What you repeatedly do and spend time thinking ultimately forms the person you are, the things you believe, and the personality that you portray. But what if you want to improve? What if you want to form new habits? How do you go about it? For that, we must understand how either good or bad habits work. Firstly, there's the cue, which is the trigger that sets a habit in motion. Then we have a routine, which is the action that is taken in response to the cue. And finally, we have the reward, which is the positive feeling or outcome which keeps the habit in motion. For example, let's say in an afternoon, you start feeling slow. Then you take a sugar snack. After that, you will feel the energy is the reward. And before you realize it, you will be reaching for that same snack every single day. The problem is that our brains don't care if a habit is good or bad. They simply care if it's easy and rewarding. That's why it's so difficult to break bad habits. But we can change them by following a simple framework called the 3 laws of behavioral change. The first law is to make it obvious. For a good habit, make the trigger clear. For a bad habit, make the cue invisible. The second law is to make it easy. For good habits, make it simple. For bad habits, make it difficult by adding obstacles. And finally, make it satisfying. For a good satisfaction reinforces good habits. So to break a bad one, make it unsatisfying. Now, I will ask you, would you rather become 1% better each day or restart every Monday? Serena Williams didn't become a world athlete by training once in a while. She trained every day, even on days she didn't feel like it. Warren Buffett didn't read once in a while. He read every day, and his daily habit of reading is what made him make the smartest decisions. Even Stephen King, one of the most prolific writers, writes 2,000 words a day, every day. And they didn't rely on their talents alone. They relied on their habits. A study made by Norcross Vangarelli of the self-change attempts of New Year's resolvers stated that 77% of people were able to stay on their habits for 1 week, but only 19% stuck to their habits for 2 years. And that shows that most people fail, but not because they're lazy, but because they didn't prepare for the tough days. One of the most common pitfalls is the all or nothing thinking. But missing once doesn't ruin progress, quitting does. Another major pitfall is taking on too much. People want to change 5 habits at once, but get one thing locked in, it creates momentum. And finally, the third pitfall is perfectionism. But perfection isn't the goal, consistency is. Even relying too much on the outcome. If you only care about the results, you will quit the moment progress slows. Now, in the journey of building better habits, it doesn't come from perfectionism or comparison. It comes from analyzing, adjusting, and continuing anyway. You don't need to change yourself entirely in one weekend. You just need to prove to yourself that change is possible with one action, one habit, and one small step. When you get one thing locked in, you don't need big changes to make it consistent. So the next time you get the urge to scroll, to skip, or to delay, remember that it's a moment of choice, and you don't need to change entirely in that one moment. But over time, those moments stack, and before you realize it, you won't just be changing your habits, you will be changing your future. The difference between who you are and who you want to be, it's simply what you do. Thank you.
What do you think about living with a pet? A study by Harvard Magazine mentions that having an animal friend reduces a person's mortality by 24%. Well, guys, good night, and welcome to my presentation. About the topic, I have a pet, a Shih Tzu dog called Flash. In the next few minutes, I'll tell you the importance of living with an animal. And a spoiler, having a pet changed all my life. But of course, from behind that, I have a story. This one involving me and my mother. My name is Fernanda Almeida Coelho, and I hope you enjoy and like a lot listen about cute animals who take care of us a lot. Well, according to my mother, the story started when I was a child and began talking, always asking for my favorite animal, a dog. But that didn't happen until a few years ago, when the pandemic started and a kind of sadness entered my house because of the lockdown. But on Friday, my mother surprised everyone at home with a small box, with one of the best gifts I've ever received in my life, which brought me a lot of joy since then, my dog. Well, you probably know the most famous pets in Brazil are small dogs, but you know in Australia, is come on have a bird? In French, are fishes, or better, you know in some Asian countries, it's popular have an insect as a domestic animal. Every culture has its own characteristics, but a fact you can't ignore is the huge benefits for living with an animal friend. And the benefits are for all the human ages. Let's see some of them. About the benefits for mental health. Firstly, reduce stress and anxiety. Increase the happy and good feelings. Increase the body's level of dopamine energy and reduce the cortisol level. Relate with a good well human feeling. It's notable in adults with a difficult routine and a significant change of humor during the day. About the benefits for the physical activities. About the benefits, firstly stimulate you to practice physical activity. For example, walking. Physical activity is important whatever your age, but in older people can reduce the speed of getting older and prevent problems with moving around. As well with children who need a lot of movement in the young stage of life. And the benefits for the family relationship. Make the family relationship stronger with take the family, take care of the animal, and develop exclusive social skills. But because not everything is flowers, it's important to say not everyone has the necessary skills to be a responsible guardian. And nowadays, when someone thinks about taking care of an animal, it's important to remember that is also something easy to do, but it's also something not easy to do. In both cases, paying for an animal life and adopt one, which is the best option because of a life, or better, an animal life, which is truly important and priceless. If you're thinking of abandoning an animal, you should remember that is not a viable solution and something so disrespectful. Abandoning an animal is a criminal and a cruel act punishable by the environmental crimes law in Brazil. So, you need to prepare its environment that gives the animal freedom and comfort. If you're thinking of introducing a pet in your home, you must remember that is not something easy to do. And you should consider if you are really prepared to be a responsible guardian. Introducing a pet in your home is something difficult, but it's also something amazing. A responsible ownership is described as one that gives the animal at least the minimum to the pet survive in good conditions, such as a clear and protected environment that gives the animal freedom and comfort. To conclude, I want to say every moment the pets also give it to us everything they have, so they obviously deserve the same love back to us. And that is it. Thank you so much for your time and attention during this speech.
How many times have you heard phrases like, hold back your tears, crying is a sign of weakness, or even, men don't cry? Since childhood, we have been taught to hide our tears, as if showing emotions was something shameful. But what if I told you that crying is not a sign of weakness, but of strength? That our tears are not a problem, but a solution? We live in a world that values rationality, self-control, and resilience. We are constantly encouraged to be strong, to hide our vulnerabilities, to keep moving forward without looking back. But by suppressing our emotions, are we really getting stronger or just accumulating silent pain? My name is Manuela Galia, and today we're going to leave this place with no fear of crying. I want to challenge the belief that our tears are something to be ashamed of, and show you how, in reality, they are an important tool for mental health, emotional well-being, and even stronger human connections. Let's start with the science behind crying. Research suggests that crying is a natural form of emotional regulation. People who allow themselves to cry when needed often experience lower levels of anxiety and depression. This is because crying acts as an emotional reset button, helping us to process difficult situations and clear our minds. But despite all these benefits, many of us still see crying as a sign of weakness. And why? Because we have been conditioned to believe that strength means silence, and that resilience means suppressing our emotions. But I ask you this, is true strength found in hiding our pain or facing it openly and honestly? Think back to a time when you felt like crying but forced yourself not to. Maybe you swallowed the lump in your throat, blinked rapidly, or even changed the subject to distract yourself. How did it feel afterward? Did the sadness disappear, or did it linger, heavy inside you? Suppressing our emotions does not make them go away. Instead, they build up inside us, often in ways we don't even realize. When we don't allow ourselves to process difficult situations, they manifest in other ways. Insomnia, headaches, anxiety, and even physical pain. When we give ourselves permission to cry, we are choosing to heal. We are making the courageous decisions to honor our feelings rather than bury them. Crying is not an act of giving up. It is an act of letting go. It says, I'm human, I'm real, I am alive. Now I'm going to tell you a personal experience. I have a boyfriend, his name is Felipe, and I think you guys already realized I am a very crying person. And he already saw me crying for a lot of times. But he is the one that never cries. Since we first started talking, he told me that he never cries. But one day I would see him crying. And I thought, oh, okay, it's probably going to be in our wedding. But for my surprise, after 1 year we were together, I saw him crying for the first time. We were sharing a very emotional moment, and I saw him crying. And I don't know how to describe the feeling of seeing him crying. My heart just melted. And I already knew I loved him, but that day I loved him more. That made a real difference in our relationship. If you have ever been with someone who is crying, you know the instinctive response it evokes. Vulnerability builds bridges. It is through shared emotions and openness that trust is built. Think about your closest relationships, the people you truly feel connected to. Chances are, at some point, you have cried together or shared a raw moment. Those are the moments that forge bonds stronger than words ever could. Tears invite compassion. They pull others closer to us. They allow us to be supported and to support when we need it most. So the next time you feel overwhelmed, let it out. Cry in the shower. Cry with your friend on the phone. Cry at a movie. Cry when you're tired, when you're heartbroken, when you're moved by beauty. Cry when you need to. You don't have to be stoic to be strong. When you feel tears coming up, don't fight them. Welcome them. Let them teach you. Let them heal you. Because those who cry are not broken. Those who cry are not weak. Those who cry are alive. And those who cry are free. Thank you very much.
Students, we know that assignments given by the teachers are really stressful. And there are some of you guys who are not that good on searching for topics. So, you pick up some guys to do the searching part for you. But you have to present it for the whole class. Now, isn't this the most stressful part of the assignment? And even worse, you didn't prepare yourself? Wow, that is a big problem. But there are 3 techniques that can help you to delivering a speech, a presentation, a declaration, or whatever. After all, when we hear the word presentation, it makes us all sweat. But this is still a skill. And doing a good presentation doesn't necessarily mean you need to be very prepared for it. My name is Bruno Ramos, and when you get out of the auditorium, you will know how to deliver a good speech, even though you're not that much prepared. Now, why should I know how to deliver a good speech, you might ask? Studies have shown that around 70% of the office jobs will need the ability of delivering speeches. And if you became the boss one day, that number increases to 100%. Although not everyone will have a job that you need to deliver something similar to a speech, life is always unpredictable. And the power givens of speeches are countless. Everyone, someday, somehow, will have to deliver something similar to one. People often judge you of how you behave in situations like that. It shows them your competence and your integrity. The technique number 1 is to stay calm. The number 1 issue you might give the audience the sensation that you don't really know what you're trying to deliver to them is your body language. Rushing through your words, moving your eyes around, all of this tells the audience, uh-oh, something's wrong. The best way to not look like this is to take a deep breath and focus on the topic. Slow down, look into people's eyes, so they will think, this guy has a reason to be that calm. The technique number 2 is to speak calmly and patiently. We have to speak calmly and patiently, of course. Some people think that when they speak faster, it means they know more of the content they will present to everybody. But that's not exactly true. The best way to not look like this is to get prepared, but you're not very prepared for it. So, when you speak calmly and patiently, you gain 2 things. You gain time to think about a topic, revise, and improvise what you're going to say before you get out of your mouth. And you gain confidence into people's minds. The technique number 3 is believe in yourself. You know more than you think you do. If you stay calm, get close to the common sense, your instincts, your experiences, all of this helps you delivering a good speech. Of course, mistakes happen during presentations in life. But people are expecting a person and not a perfect robot who's programmed to deliver speeches and presentations. The best speeches aren't necessarily the ones you are very prepared for it, but the ones that the audience get connected and it looks like a good old conversation. With those techniques in mind, you're probably more confident and have some good light on how to deliver a good speech, even though you're not that much prepared. You might not have a slide, you might not have a plan, but if you look like you know what you're doing, hey, that's half of the job. Of course, nothing of these techniques none of these techniques will replace a good old preparation for the presentation. But in extreme situations, it is all useful. Thank you very much.
Not everyone has their favorite game, nor ever played a video game before. But it has been proven that playing video games in the right way can have benefits that will be very useful in various ways in your life. There is people saying that video games can rotten your brain. That's not entirely true. I'm trying to prove them wrong. If video games are really that bad, why keep playing it? Why are video games not treated just like a toy and now considered like a hobby, a sport, and even art? Well, it's strange that people only want to study one side of the coin. I might sound crazy, but at the end of the night, I will convince you to play at least 5 minutes. My name is Eduardo Mendes, and tonight I'm telling you about the benefits of playing video games to your life. It's not entirely true that video games can be bad for you. Actually, video games have been linked to improvements in cognitive functions, such as attention, memory, and problem-solving skills. For instance, action games were linked to enhanced hand-eye coordination and visual processing abilities. And that's not all the video games can do. There's a theory called entity. This theory says that what you believe about your own intelligence comes since you were a child and how you were praised for it. Well, if sometime you're there and you do activities and someone go and says, you did a good job. You say, my intelligence is this way, I'm doing a good job all the time. But if someone says, good job, here's a candy, you say, well, what I gain from my own intelligence is what I need. Playing games that praise your intelligence, like Elden Ring, makes you want to keep gaming and improving, helping with your resilience. Also, have you ever gone to a house tired and couldn't do anything more than just relax? Well, games can help. Playing games like Stardew Valley and Abzu can help you to relax muscles, support the heart, and help with the blood pressure. Games can also help in career development. A study from the University of Houston said that gaming experiences can help in employment gaming. Actually, gamers have said that in their jobs they have more experience, they have leadership and problem-solving skills. Video games can also help kids and teenagers. Playing games like Minecraft and The Legend of Zelda that have a lot of mysteries, history, and puzzles can help people to study more history, art, and be more creative, automatically making people more intelligent. Well, here's an experience of mine. When I was 7 years old, I moved to a city from another, and I didn't have any friends. But I had an Xbox One, and I always loved to play video games. I was pretty good at them, but my favorite video games like Brawlhalla, Minecraft, and A Way Out all needed 2 players or more. And I didn't have them. Well, it made me look out for friends in my condominium and to have more friends. Studies from various universities and sites said that more Brazilians and United States Americans civils had made more friends and relationships online. Video games can also help another people. This skin Pink Mercy that was made from Overwatch covered almost $120 million that all was gave to the breast cancer community, the biggest donation that the breast cancer community ever had. Also, players like Gaules and Faker helped a lot during the pandemic, giving players PCs and consoles to play with other people in a time where kids and adults couldn't play with other people. Games aren't only for you. They help a lot of people. Thank you.
What if I told you that there is something that you can do right now as an immediate positive benefit for your body and your brain, including your mood and your full concentration? And what if I told you that it can last for a long time, helping you to prevent problems like diabetes, obesity, anxiety, and depression that can last for the rest of your life? Will you do it? Well, I am talking about the power and effect of physical activity, that is simply moving your body has immediate and protective benefits that can prevent you from becoming a sedentary person. My name is Ana Paula Rivas, and what I would like to do tonight is motivate you to become a better version of yourself. I want you to achieve much more than you can imagine and to learn how daily physical activity stimulates your body and your brain. Your brain. Many studies have shown that physical exercise is the most transformative thing our body and brain can receive because it has immediate effects such as mood changes and boosts in energy. When our brain receives signals from physical exercise, it improves the activity of our prefrontal cortex as it stimulates our memory and full concentration. So now let me ask you something. How much time do you spend sitting every day? And be honest, you sit maybe when you're at school, while you're doing homework, eating, or even scrolling all over social media. So imagine what that adds up to in a week, in a month, in a year. That's hours of sitting, every single day. For many of us, movement is no longer part of our daily routine. It's more like something extra, something we do only if we have time left. This has led me to think, what is the importance of exercise to avoid sedentarism? The word sedentarism refers to long periods of time seated or being inactive. And I guess many of you have already spent a lot of time sitting, like you're doing it right now. Or maybe you thought that it was okay spending hours in front of a computer and then watch TV in your bed or in your couch, which has made a lot of damage to your body. Well, a lot of damage to your body. A lot of damage to your body. A research made by the hospital of SimQ tells that within 30 minutes of physical or of sitting, we have less blood flow into our brain, and our ability to break down fat drops as much as 90%. This alarming figure highlights the deep public health implications of a sedentary lifestyle that can lead you to chronic health diseases. And these are the most critical ones, and I'm going to talk about right now. Obesity. A sedentary lifestyle is the leading factor of the rise in obesity rates. And in line with expectations, the number of obese individuals is projected to surge by nearly 94% within the next 15 years. So that's an outstanding projection. When we don't move, our bodies struggle to burn calories and fat efficiently, leading to weight gain and dangerous fat accumulation. This leads us to the second point, diabetes. People who lead sedentary lifestyles have a 160% higher chance of developing type 2 diabetes. The combination of a poor diet high in fats and sugars increases this risk. Managing diabetes starts with a balanced lifestyle, one that includes physical exercise and healthy eating. Movement isn't just exercise. It's prevention, it's medicine, it's respecting your body. And finally, the brain. When we sit for extended periods, our bodies go into low energy mode. This means that spending hours sitting can lead to slower thinking, reduced memory, and even poor memory retention. So, look into all these types of consequences that a sedentary lifestyle can cause. What changes can we make? These recent studies have shown us that sitting is in fact killing us, slowly, surely. That means that you need to move your body. With increased exercise, you're not going to immediately cure Alzheimer's, diabetes, or any type of disease, but what are you going to do is create a stronger body. So your brain will become bigger, and it will take longer to the disease to actually have an effect. So it doesn't need to be that complicated. According to the World Health Organization, we need at least 150 minutes of physical activity. That is just 30 minutes a day. The rule of thumb is that you want to get 3 to 4 times a week an exercise session. And also, you want to get aerobics exercise in. That is, get your heart rate up. The good news is that you don't need to become a professional athlete to change your life or have a stronger body. Add an extra block to your walk. If you see stairs, take the stairs. You can start stretching your body over your days or dance with your friends. Clean your room. Whatever fits in your day counts to make your body move. You will see the transformation that physical exercise will have in your life. So finally, I want to give you one last thought, and that is, bringing exercise to your lifestyle will not only give you a happier and healthier life, but it will protect you from incurable diseases. So I challenge you tonight to move your body, protect your brain, and become the healthiest and strongest version of yourself. Thank you.
How many hours of sleep do you get every day? Do you think excessive internet use interferes with the quality of your sleep? Well, sleep is essential for life because during this period, your body recovers and replenishes the energy expended throughout the day. Sleeping well is therefore essential for the body to function properly, help physical and mental health, brain development, and memory retention. This is especially important for us, students. But with the emergence of pandemic caused by coronavirus in 2019, the students had to adapt to the challenges of online classes. According to studies, the excessive time spent online during COVID-19 pandemic has multiplied the likelihood of being a risk factor for internet addiction. And I'm sure you have spent your whole life hearing about this subject. But do we really know how serious is this addiction in our midst? Let me explain to you. Internet addiction is characterized by the inability of the individuals to control themselves, generating anguish, impairment of visual activities, and the denial of the behavior considered refutable. The abstinence, lack of planning, anxiety, physiological changes, and excessive time spent online were defined as core symptoms for internet addiction, generating negative changes in sleep quality. My name is Isadora Avlis, and from now on, your nights of sleep will be the best of your life. One physiological process that may help the negative impact of excessive internet use in sleep habits is the use of computers and smartphones during the night. Moreover, a study carried out by Young in 2019 showed that more than 90% of participants who use devices with screens immediately before bedtime, exposing themselves to blue light emitted by these devices, showed a reduction in sleep efficiency and an increase in the time taken to fall asleep. But what about you? Are you part of this statistic? Do you identify with this data? Maybe you need to start worrying about your health. However, it is possible to improve the sleep quality of young people through effective interventions to reduce internet abuse. But how can we do that? Adopting sleep hygiene habits can help make better use of the time available for sleep and be a solution to this problem. But what do you need to do to start? Switch off. Disconnect at least 1 hour before bed. Create a nighttime ritual without screens, like read a book, take a warm bath, listen to calming music, and exercise regularly. For those, I've brought you 3 methods to make your sleep the best part of your day. The first one is control exposure to light. Studies by Shang in 2015 showed that using electronic devices at night reduces the secretion of melatonin, delays the sleep onset, and reduces the quality of deep sleep. So you have to control your exposure to light. Expose yourself to natural light in the early hours of the morning. Reduce exposure to blue light 1 to 2 hours before bed. The second one is regulate body temperature. Hag Hayek in 2019 demonstrated that taking a hot bath before bed reduces the sleep latency and improves overall quality. Keep the bedroom at a temperature between 16 and 20 degrees. Take a hot bath 1 to 2 hours before bed. Here, you can combine this tip with the one about your cell phone. So when you take a bath, take advantage and put your cell phone aside too, okay? And the last one is regular physical exercise. Research from the 2015 Journal of Behavior Medicine shows that exercise improves sleep latency and efficiency, especially when practiced consistently. The exercise reduces anxiety, increases sleep pressure due to energy expenditure, and helps regulate circadian rhythm. It's not about losing connection with the world. It's about reconnecting with yourself, respecting your body, your rest, and your peace. It's telling your body and mind that you deserve a break, balance, a presence. It's recognizing that life also happens outside of notifications, and that well-being begins with simple choices, like turning off your cell phone and allowing yourself to rest. Sleeping well, it's not wasting time. It's gaining life. So today, I invite you to take a test. Just today. Turn off your cell phone an hour before bed. Tomorrow, observe how you wake up and then decide what's worth more, one more notification or a restorative night's sleep. Are you allowing yourself the silence you need to truly rest, or are you falling asleep trapped in a world that never turns off? Disconnect. Your sleep will thank you, and your life too. Thank you.
Sound? Okay. What comes to your mind when you hear the word gym? Most people immediately think of a place to build big arms, six-pack abs, or huge legs. But is it really just that? The gym is a place that forges individuals with tougher minds, sharper focus, and perseverance. The gym is a sanctuary for mental health and medicine for depression and anxiety. The gym is a community that brings people together. And last, the term gym can be equivalent to the term mindset. So let me ask you again, what comes to your mind when you think of the word gym? When you go do a workout, you are not just working out your body. You work out 3 essences of discipline, vision, and intensity. Before I begin showing you these 3 values, I would like to present myself. My name is Lucas Odor, and tonight I will prove to you that the gym is not just a place to lift, but a place to forge your mindset and lift your spirits. Discipline. According to Cambridge's dictionary, discipline is the ability to control yourself or others even in difficult situations. And most of the time, these difficult situations are the moments where you grow the most. Take a plant, for example. The more pressure it has persisted, the stronger it gets. So when tougher storms come, they're the most prepared ones. Alternatively, David Goggins wasn't a plant. He was a man. A man once trapped in a cycle of self-doubt, obesity, and hardship. At his lowest, he weighed nearly 300 pounds, worked a dead-end job, and felt lost. But he made a choice to embrace discomfort. He transformed his entire life through sheer determination and relentless effort. He wasn't born an elite athlete, but through discipline, he forged a Navy SEAL character, an ultra-endurance athlete, and a motivational force. All of this without talent, but with the choice to embrace. The next virtue I would like brings you closer to your goals. Brings you closer to your goals. Tom Platz, often referred to as the Golden Eagle, and known for his incredibly muscular legs, was a legendary bodybuilder who optimized the importance of intensity in both his workouts and mindset. His most iconic training method was his approach to squats. He pushed himself to failure, performing sets so grueling that his legs would tremble with exhaustion. But these failures weren't seen for him as a chance to break through mental barriers and unlock untapped potential. He made it clear that success in bodybuilding and in life was not just about physical strength, but about cultivating the mental resilience to push yourself when your body wanted to quit. In conclusion, the gym is a place where we forge stronger minds with values such as discipline, intensity, and vision. You are more capable of handling the pressures life throws at you. Through discipline, we learn to persevere even though progress feels slow. Through vision, we understand how by setting a precise vision, it gives you the commitment and motivation you need to overcome the toughest obstacles. And through intensity, you break through the limits of discomfort, emerging stronger and more capable of everything. Just as athletes like David Goggins, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and Tom Platz, the journey to greatness is never easy, but it is through these virtues that we turn our dreams into reality. So I wanted to conclude by saying, keep pushing, stay focused, and never forget the power of your own resilience. Thank you.
Let me start with a question. When was the last time you did something just because it made you happy? Not for school, not for work, not for anyone else, just for you. Life today is fast and full. We wake up, go to school or work, try to focus, try to do your best. We come back home tired and still have things to do. Responsibilities, homework, message to answer, social media to check. We go to sleep, wake up, and repeat. Sometimes we forget how to slow down. We forget to enjoy ourselves. We feel charged, stressed, and even a little bit low. And still, we keep going. But tonight, I want to help you. I want to give you a small message, something simple. There is one small habit that can change your life, little by little. Something that brings more peace, more energy, and more joy into our daily routine. That habit is having a hobby. My name is Maria Vitória Rossi, and tonight I want to help you understand why having a hobby is not just a fun thing. It's something powerful. It can improve your mood, your confidence, and even your future. Let's talk about why hobbies matter more than you think. Hobbies help you manage stress. After a hard day, doing something you love even for 20 minutes, give your minds a break, your brain better, and you feel lighter again. It's like a present puzzle in a busy world. You don't have to be good at it. The goal is not to be perfect, it's to enjoy it. Hobbies help you grow as a person. When you try something new, like drawing, painting, or playing an instrument, you become beginner again. You make mistakes. You try again. But little by little, you get it better. That's builds confidence, that's teach patience, and in a world full of pressure and perfectionists, learn to enjoy the process is a gift. Hobbies make your life more meaningful. Your routines can feel repetitive. We go to school, homework, fun, sleep, but hobbies add this color to your day. It gives you something to look forward to, something to belongs only to you. And they also help you connect. And when you enjoy a group or share your passion online, you meet people with the same interest to you. And you feel seen, you feel included. Sometimes, shared hobbies create a lifelong friendships. Hobbies are not only fun, they support your mental health. Science proves that doing something you enjoy releases dopamine and endorphins. These chemicals reduce anxiety and sadness. They help you stay emotionally strong and balanced. And I know you think, oh, I don't have time. But let's be honest. You use the telephone every day, and you spend hours in fun. What if you use it just 10 minutes in something more meaningful, like read a book, or painting, or, I don't know, try a new recipe? And in the end, you feel better after. Now I'm say real experience. A girl in my class start learning calligraphy. She sells cards online. My cousin starts playing piano in pandemic. Now, he plays every week just to relax him. They didn't plan to be great. They just gave it a try and found something that helped them feel more alive. And maybe a small thing like a hobby can teach us something bigger. When you do something just because it brings us peace, we are learned to respect yourselves. When you make time for it, we are showing responsibility. When we keep practicing, even when it's hard, we are being integrity. And we were sharing it with others or inspiring someone else to try. We are showing leadership and empathy. These are not just hobbies, they are lessons for life. So what about you? Tonight, I want to challenge you to try a new hobby this weekend. Pick something small. It doesn't need to be perfect or expensive or popular. Just need it to make you feel good. Thank you for your attention.
Oh, here. Já? Cadê o trem? A little boy was able to overcome his anxiety and stress through horror movies. Jordan Peele, as a child, suffered from anxiety and stress, but with horror movies, he was capable of dealing with these emotions. The genre helped him to process his own fears in a safe way. It was also an important impulse for him to develop his creativity and skills as a writer, and he is now one of the leading horror directors. This case is an example of how horror movies can help people to cope with their emotions and also be a form of artistic expression, such as the example of Jordan Peele's movie, Get Out. Greetings, everyone. My name is Marissa Lira, and tonight you'll leave this auditorium wishing to watch a horror movie. Many of you think that horror movies are just a form of weird entertainment, designed only to scare you and leave you with nightmares. However, the truth is that these movies can have a positive impact on your lives. So today, you'll explore the benefits of horror movies more deeply and how they can be a valuable part of your culture and entertainment. Get ready to take a journey into the world of horror movies and discover how they can be more than just a form of scary entertainment. According to Oxford University study, thrill-seeking and arousal in horror movie fans, watching horror movies can increase adrenaline and excitement, which can be good for your mental health. But why does this happen? One reason is that these movies let you face and overcome your fears in a safe way. When you watch a horror movie, you can feel scared and anxious, but you know it's not real. This can help you develop skills to deal with tough situations in life. Another important thing is that watching horror movies can be a fun way to challenge yourself and step out of your comfort zone. When you face your fears in a fictional way, you can build confidence and self-awareness. So next time you're feeling stressed or anxious, maybe it's time to watch a horror movie. But let's go even further. Horror movies can also help you to deal with real-life fears. According to the book Why Horror Seduces from Dr. Matthias Claesen, a professor in Aarhus University in Denmark who studies the psychology of horror, these films work like a flight simulation to fear. In his research, he says that watching horror movies is like training your brain to manage fear in a controlled setting. It's not about avoiding fear, but learning how to face it. Horror movies can even help you process personal traumas. A good example is the movie It, based on Stephen King's novel. In the story, the creature Pennywise uses each child's deepest fears against them to terrorize and control them. However, when the kids come together, face their fears, and stop being afraid, they are able to defeat the monster. This powerful message shows that confronting your own fears and traumas, rather than hiding from them, is the key to healing and empowerment. Stories like it are not just entertainment. They give us symbolic lessons about courage and emotional recovery. But horror isn't just about fear. It's also about meaning. Many horror movies reflect real problems in society. Think about Get Out by Jordan Peele. It's not only scary, it's also a strong commentary on racism and social injustice. Horror can be a mirror that shows us uncomfortable truth. It demands that we reflect on the world around us and often on how we treat people. That's why it's also a space for critical thinking, social awareness, and respect for different experiences and perspectives. The gender also gives voice to people who often don't have space in other forms of storytelling. Women, people of color, the LGBTQ+ community, they all have found a home in horror, both as creators and characters. Films like The Babadook, His House, and Candyman give new and diverse perspectives to the gender, turning horror into a tool for empathy. So these stories honor the complexity of human experience, showing strength, resilience, and sometimes even integrity on the face of fear and trauma. So yes, horror movies are more than just blood and screams. They're emotional training grounds. They're artistic expressions. They're social reflections. And above all, they are deeply human. Thank you for your attention. And don't forget, after this, grab some popcorn, turn off the lights, and let yourself enjoy the beauty of fear. It might just make you stronger.
The sport would spend $3.2 billion per season just on cars. This is Formula One, known for its high-speed races, kinetic technology, and intense rivalities. F1 is more than just a sport. It's a combination of engineering excellence, technology thinking, strategy, and pure adrenaline. Since the first official season in 1950, Formula One has grown into a global phenomenon, attracting millions of viewers around the world. But Formula One created icons who redefine what it means to be a champion. Icons like Ayrton Senna, Michael Schumacher, Lewis Hamilton, and Max Verstappen. These guys create and redefine what it means to be a champion. But more than this, F1, it's not just about races and speed. It's about teamwork, strategy, split-second decisions that can change the outcome of the race, power, and which team have more money to spend in the season. Within racing fame, money turns into important thing to the development of the championship. Courses are massive and are very important in this sport. Because if you don't have money, you can't race. Because the money is very important in the race. And each team needs to be a base in this thing. The business development is very straightforward, because if you don't have the straight to race, you can win. But because with the economic research between the teams, the FIA, the committee who managed the Formula One, created a rule in 2021. This rule was created to redefine and be an opportunity to create those teams who don't have like a important resource to compete. Because we can't compare a Mercedes with a Williams, because they don't have the same resource. With this budget cap is around $145 million. And this but the cap is only for the car developer. If the team it set this value, they can suffer some penalties, like deduction of points, loss of the race, and loss of the championship, and fail in the season. But we can talk about Formula One if we don't talk about the salaries of the pilots. Between this, we can see such a difference between them. The best pilot, paid pilot, is Max Verstappen, with $35 million per year. But this is not included his bonus, major rides, and travels. If we plus this value in the total looking change $455 million per season. In the other side, we have the worst paid driver, is Deschamps. His name is Deschamps, and he raced for the Red Bull Ring. And his salary is around $1 million, and it's a such difference to Max. But this makes us to see the difference between them, and to see who wins the race is the best paid and the best driver in the season, and define who will be a champion in the final. The FIA created this rule to harmonize the environment in this sport, because into compare the teams, they need to be respectful, and the environment need to be fair and to dignity the dignity each team, because if you don't compete, you can't be a champion, and this is why FIA created this rule. To conclude, Formula One is a big one sport in this case, because the sport grows into times, and the final revision of this is that drivers and the teams only compete for the dignity and for the honor of they can win a race. Thank you, and that's my speech.
Have you ever wondered how a simple melody can change your mood or even affect your brain? Well, I'm Rafaela Pires, and I'm going to explain this now. Imagine a moment when you hear a song that instantly lifts your spirits, or a melody that brings back a flood of memories. Have you ever noticed how certain tunes can make you feel happier, more relaxed, or even energize you? Well, this isn't just in your head. Music has a profound influence on our brains, and the science behind it, it's fascinating. Music affects us on many levels, from regulating our emotions to improving our focus and memory. It releases dopamine, the feel-good chemical, and can even help reduce pain and anxiety. But it doesn't stop there. When we listen to or play music, different brain areas light up, straining connections that enhance everything from our cognitive skills to our social bonds. Today, you are going to learn how music can do all this and more, from how it shapes emotions and boosts brain's functions, to how it's used therapeutically to treat various conditions. Whether you're a casual listener or an aspiring musician, there is no denying that music plays a vital role in how we think, feel, and connect with the world around us. Let's dive into the incredible ways music influences our minds. Music has a strong effect on how we feel. When we hear a song we like, the brain releases a chemical called dopamine, which makes us feel happy. Dr. Danielle Levitin, a brain expert and author of This Is Your Brain on Music, explains that this is the same chemical we get when we eat chocolate or laugh with friends. Fast, happy songs can give us energy. Slow music can help us relax. Even sad songs can help us feel better when we are going through a hard time. A study from University of Missouri showed that listening to cheerful music can make people feel happier. The part of the brain that controls our emotions is called amygdala. It becomes active when we listen to music that makes us feel something. That's why we cry with some songs or smile hearing a favorite tune. Music gets many parts of the brain working at once, like hearing, moving, thinking, and remembering. When you play an instrument, your brain works even harder. The Harvard Medical School says that this helps us to make new connections. This is called neuroplasticity, and it also helps us to learn new things, solve problems, and remember better. Children who learn music often do better in school. A study from Northwestern University found that music training helps kids with reading and language skills. Music also benefits older people. A study in the journal Brain showed that music keeps the brain sharp and may slow down memory loss as we age. Music and memory are closely linked. The hippocampus part of the brain that helps with memory becomes very active when we hear familiar music. Boston University found that people with Alzheimer's disease can often remember songs, even if they forget names or places. Music therapy helps people to feel less pain and stress after surgery. It also helps people who have had a stroke or brain injury to feel better and walk or talk again. It also supports people with autism and depression. In cases like that, respect, which means showing care and valuing each person's identity, is essential because it helps to build a safer place for healing. Dr. Elizabeth Stedmoller says that singing helps people with Parkinson's disease speak and swallow better. As we've seen, music is much more than just entertainment. It's a powerful tool that affects our emotions, sharpens our minds, and can even help us heal. Music connects with us in ways nothing else can. So whether you're playing an instrument, singing along, or just listening with headphones on, music has the power to change your mood, improve your brain, and bring comfort during thought times. So the next time you press play, remember, you're not just enjoying a melody, you're actually giving your brain a workout, boosting your well-being, and making deeper connections with the world around you. Thank you, and keep listening.
Well, LeBron Raymond James was born on December 30 of 1984 in Akron, Ohio. And by its early age, it was clear he wasn't like other kids. He was taller, faster, and even more coordinated than the others around him. At first, he practiced multiple sports, such as baseball, volleyball, and even football, where he played as a wide receiver. Coaches and teammates saw his natural talent, but when he chose basketball, something just clicked. The way he moved, the way he saw the game, it was different. It was special. By the time he entered on St. Vincent St. Mary High School, the world has already spread. As a junior, he didn't just play. He dominated. He led his team to a state championship on its very first year, and from that moment on, the hype only grew. He played with a mix of skill, confidence, and power that people say seemed beyond his years. Year after year, he kept winning. As a junior, his name started appearing on newspapers, then in national magazines. Sports Illustrated chose him as a cover, and people started calling him the chosen one. Celebrities and NBA scouts competed to watch a single high school kid play. Some of them even said he was the best basketball player ever. But the weird question here is, was he really that good? My name is Ana Victoria Dantas, and tonight you will know the answer. His early life was filled with instability, moving from apartment to apartment, raised by a single mother doing her best. Instead of being defined by those challenges, he used them as a fool. He stayed focused, worked relentlessly, and believed in his potential. That foundation, built in consistency and efficiency, has shaped everything that would come next. Off the court, his impact was just as significant. In 2018, LeBron opened the I Promise School for at-risk children in his hometown, offering free tuition, meals, bicycles, and even guaranteed credit scholarships for graduates. He has took strong and public stances on issues such as racial inequality, police brutality, and even access to education. Where many public figures chose silence, he has chosen to speak. That is not just a celebrity gesture. That is a sustained effort backed by time, resources, and leadership. On the court, the numbers tell their own story. LeBron is the NBA's all-time leading scorer in NBA's history, with more than 42,000 points. No one has scored more points on the board than he has. But he's also top 5 in assists and rebounds, showing that he's not just a scorer. He's a facilitator, someone who elevates their team. When discussing greatness in basketball, certain names always surface. Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, all those players had made significant historic orders from basketball and left their mark, but the conversation becomes more complex when comparing them to LeBron. Michael Jordan is often seen as a gold standard in basketball. He has won 6 NBA championships and never lost in the finals. And his killer instinct and markability has helped globalize the sport, but Jordan's peak, as dominant as it was, lasted around 13 seasons, and he retired it 3 times. LeBron James is in his 20th season, and there's not even signs of leaving. Most of players leave after 10 years or 15 years, but LeBron James is in his 20th season, and there's not even signs of leaving. Kobe Bryant left at 37, even Michael Jordan left at 39, but LeBron is turning 41 on the end of the year, and he keeps playing. And he keeps playing. And even after that, there's the pressure. LeBron is being called the chosen one since he was 17 years old. He entered in the league with expectations that high that seemed impossible to meet. And even after that, he exceeded them. He became the player everyone thought he would be. And even after that, he became more than that. And even after all that is laid out, the scores, the championships, the leadership, his participation in the league, his career speak louder than words, and the conclusion becomes clear. And even after all that I said, I can say with confidence that LeBron James is not one of the best players of all time. He is the best player of all time. Thank you for your attention.
A man who changed the way our country works. Someone who has not only been a champion on tracks, but also on our hearts. philanthropist, 3-time Formula One world champion, and Brazilian by nationality, and so. The King of Monaco, Ayrton Senna da Silva, is his name. Born in São Paulo, Brazil, our star was a champion from an early age. At just 13 years old, Ayrton was already competing in major car championships, having won his first championship the same year he entered, 1973, at the Interlagos karting circuit that later received his name. But later, Senna would win the national kart championship simply 4 times, also being 2 times South American champion and 2 times world runner-up. All this until he was 20 years old. At the age of 21, Ayrton would take his first steps of his eternal legacy, having moved to UK in 1981 to compete in the Formula Ford 1600, a competition for young drivers who want to be professionals. During this period that Ayrton da Silva, as he was known at the time of karting, will be called Senna. My name is Marcos Cruz, and today I present to you the legacy of our national hero. Of 20 races held during the British Championship, Ayrton won 12, which made him move up a category to Formula Ford 2000. 27 races, of which Senna won 21. Soon after his breakthrough in the base categories, Senna made his debut in the British Formula 3, in which Senna had a simply magnificent performance, having won his first 9 consecutive races, establishing a record in the category. Senna was already considered a prodigy in the sport, drawing the eyes of the great people behind F1, the most important motorsport category, during several tests in teams such as BMW, McLaren, and Lotus. But Senna decided to join Toleman in 1984. Ayrton Senna's first race in Formula One happened right here in Brazil, at Jacarepaguá Autódromo in Rio de Janeiro. People had no idea, but that young Brazilian driver will go down in history as a legend of the sport. April 21, at the Estoril racetrack in Portugal, Senna will make his debut in the championship. It was raining too much, but it is an obstacle for the other competitors, but not for Senna. Since a child, Senna was dedicated to running the rain. Because one time, when he was a kid, he lost a championship due to the rain. So his sister say that every time it rained, he'd take his car, go somewhere in São Paulo, and train till dark. All this showed to us one of the main pillars of him to become the greatest: his dedication and his honor. Coincidentally, the same race was Alain Prost as Senna's biggest rival. They have a small rivalry since 1985, but the rivalry reached its apex in 1988, when both are teammates from McLaren. 15 races of 16 would win by the teammates. But Senna would take this championship as winning his first championship in Formula One. In 1990, Prost moved to Ferrari, and Senna remained at McLaren. On May 1st, 1994, the Formula One was through bad days. On the San Marino GP in Italy, on Friday, the Brazilian driver Rubens Barrichello have an accident in the tournament, which made him have a rib factory and a nose factory. But later in the next day, the Austrian driver Rubens Barrichello suffered an accident, hitting hard in the wall, which made him die. On the next day, Senna would decide will call his girlfriend and say, I don't want to race anymore. But Senna raced at the same way he ever raced. But on the tabulador corner, he hits the wall, and the front suspension of his car fly and hit his helmet, like a person in his helmet, which made him die. Ayrton Senna would be an example to us of how we should be proud of our country and always help out the others. Senna made the foundation of his name, which helped children all the country help children all over the country to reach his dreams. According to BBC, Ayrton Senna was the best F1 driver who ever lived. Thank you.
Okay, do you believe that you will have the successful life you dream of having? Or better, what are you doing now to ensure that it really happens? Our future is not something that just happens, is it built today? Every choice we make, every skill we develop now, it's what defines your tomorrow. So what are you doing to build your future? And I know, talking about habits, maybe you enter in eyes like despair. It seems that we'll say, you have to wake up 5 a.m., run a marathon before breakfast, and read 3 books in a week. But calm down. It's not about that. It's about habits that really makes a difference in your life, in your future. Long-term vision, emotional control, discipline, and other habits are the key to build your long-awaited future. So the big question is, are you waiting for the future to come? Or are you building it now? My name is Lana Gabriele, and tonight, you will take out of this place with the power to change your future. Okay, I think you can start with a long-term vision. Where do you want to go? For those who don't know where you're going, anyway, it's fine. Recognize from somewhere? Yeah, Alice in Wonderland. It may just be a children's fantasy movie, but that phrase is totally true. When you think about your future, you need to know where I want to go. Having a long-term vision doesn't mean knowing exactly every step you are going to take. It means having a direction. It means be able to say, this is the place I want to get to. This is the way I want to go. Now, talking about something a little more complicated, the feelings, the emotions. Let's go. Bad things happen to everyone, right? That is a fact. You don't have anything to do. The difference is in how each one deals with the situation. And that's where emotional control comes in. Think of a bad or stressful situation. A fight with a friend, a low grade, or just one of those days when everything seems to have simply decided to go wrong. Do you lose your control? Or you can hold on? Success belongs not only to the most intelligent people, but to those who know how to control their emotions. Think of it as a superpower. You can't control what happens, but you can control how you react to it. In emotional control, you don't hide what you feel, but learn to control the feeling and not let control you. Discipline. This is the silent choice we make every day to continue focusing your goal. You know, often you wanted to follow a steady routine or keep in gym, and you are excited. Go the first day, the second, but the 30, you get lazy. Oh, today you won't go, and after that you don't come back because you give up or because you think it will happen again. For that you need the discipline. It is easy to do things when you are motivated, but when the motivation ends, discipline. This is what keeps the constants in your way, even with laziness, even without motivation. The discipline is to remember every day what you want more in the future, not to get lost in what you want now. It's the bridge between what you dream and what you achieve. Now, do you know how to organize your time? They say everyone has the same 24 hours, but they don't. The routine of each person is different. Some work, others is full time, others deal with other things. Each one has his life. his reality. And that's why time management, it's not about having more time or doing everything others do. It's about doing the best you can do with your time. It's not about waking up at 5 a.m., as I said before, and doing things that don't work for you, for reality. It's about understanding your priorities, organizing and being honest with yourself. Who doesn't know how to manage his own time ends up being managed by his own regrets. And now, the last but not least habit, self-knowledge. Do you really know yourself? Most people, when they hear that word, think it's knowing your name, your color, and your favorite movie. But I will say, it's much deeper. Self-knowledge, it's knowing who you are, your qualities, your defects, your dreams, your fears, what motivates you, and what paralyzes you. And this helps you, frees you. Self-knowledge gives you the freedom to understand yourself, to learn how to move on with your life. It prepares you to build in your future, a future that makes sense to you, understand? And I think that's the goal of all this speech, make you start building your future. Because in the end, what defines we are going to arrive is not necessarily immediately change, but the small steps we take every day. And finally, building your future, it's learning to have dignity. It's respecting who you are and believing in what you can become tomorrow. Finally, I ask you, when will you take the first step to start building your future? Because your future starts today, and your future only depends on you. Thank you very much. This is all my speech.
Muito bem, que maravilha. Ótimo. Eu sei que é um pouquinho diferente e talvez alguns que estão aqui presentes não tenham conseguido compreender tudo. Fica o convite para você estudar e fazer parte do grupo. Quinta-feira, dia 12, no famoso Dia dos Namorados, teremos a prova de admissão para o segundo semestre. São 4 vagas e já tem 7 pessoas na fila de espera. Se você ainda não se inscreveu e tem o desejo, fale conosco. Eu gostaria de convidar mais uma vez todos os alunos do High School que viessem aqui na frente. Por favor, uma salva de palmas para eles. Eles merecem. Venham aqui. Como vocês viram, a gente teve discursos variados de vários tipos e assuntos diferentes, cada um de acordo com o gosto do aluno, aquilo que o aluno costuma fazer mais. Eu gostaria, queridos, de dizer para vocês, diante de todo esse público, que vocês arrasaram, estão de super parabéns, são o meu orgulho. E eu tenho certeza que vocês vão muito longe falando em outros palcos para outros públicos também e em outras línguas, se Deus quiser assim. Eu gostaria de encerrar o programa dessa noite orando em especial em agradecimento a Deus pelo o que os meninos conseguiram entregar. Afinal, foram muitos meses de ensaio e preparação. Não é tão simples quanto parece vir até aqui na frente e fazer o que eles fizeram. Então, eu gostaria de convidar você a ficar em reverência nesse momento. E a gente vai concluir o programa da noite com uma oração. E fica o convite, amanhã nós teremos uma exibição de arte muito legal com a outra turma do High School. E aí vocês vão se divertir bastante também. Vamos orar? Santo Pai que estás nos céus, obrigado, Senhor, por mais um evento finalizado. Obrigado porque o Senhor esteve conosco. Obrigado porque cada um dos alunos da turma 1 do High School conseguiram concluir com êxito o seu discurso em público. Que o Senhor possa os guiar, possa tomar conta de suas mentes e que eles possam usar as suas técnicas, o seu conhecimento e também todos os dons que o Senhor os enviou para o crescimento da tua obra e levar o Evangelho a outras pessoas que ainda não o conhecem. Nos dê um restante de noite agradável, que todos nós possamos ficar bem. Nós oramos agradecidos e em nome de Jesus, amém. Muito bem. Queridos, obrigado.